So, hello everybody. Schönen guten Tag, alle zusammen. My name is Jill Phelps. I'm the teacher in charge of German here at the college. I'm here to tell you all about German A-level, and with me in this video are two of my lower six students, and they're going to introduce themselves to you now. So firstly, Linnea.
Hello, my name is Linnea. My old school is Beaton Village College, and right now at Road, I'm studying German, biology, and.
Thank you very much. And Michael?
Hi, my name is Michael, and I came from Chesterton Community College, and at Hills Road I'm studying German, geography, combined English, and biology.
Thank you very much. Okay, so this is an introduction to German A-level, and we hope that by the end of this short presentation, you will have a clearer idea what German A-level is all about, and that it helps you to decide whether it is the right choice for you. So, why study German? Well, firstly, if you're already enjoying it at GCSE, there's a good chance that you will enjoy it at A-level. You go further into the language, you have a better idea how the language works, and your skills will be increasing all the time. It could be that you have an interest in German culture and the German-speaking countries. Perhaps you've been lucky enough to travel to one of the German-speaking countries, and you'll quite likely have an interest in communicating and exchanging views with other people. Maybe you're interested in working abroad in future or living abroad in future, and taking a language at A-level gives you the chance and gives you the basis to be able to do this in future. At the end of the 2 years, we hope you'd have achieved quite a high degree of fluency, and certainly a high enough level to be able to live or to work in a German-speaking country. So it'd be nice now to hear from Linnea and Michael to see why they decided to study German. Linnea?
So my mother has family in Germany, and although I've traveled there a couple of times, I haven't been able to speak to them in German. So I decided to take a German A-level so I'd be able to connect with that side of my family. I've also found that it's very different from my other subjects that I'm studying. It's a lot more interactive and less rigid in the learning style, which is a nice break from my other subjects.
Thank you very much. And Michael?
Well, I really just enjoyed the subject at GCSE, and I really wanted to take it further because I love learning languages, I love communicating with people and understanding sort of how different cultures work and how we relate to that, and how it can all encompass lots of different things, because there's literature and there's art and there's architecture and history in German, and I just found that really engaging and exciting, and hopefully I'll be able to utilize it in the future, and that was my thinking.
Yes, that's lovely to hear. Thank you, both of you. And it's fair to say, I think if you take any language at A-level, it gives you a blueprint to learn new languages in the future, and that's often a reason why students like to do a language at A-level. So what will you study? Well, the topics that we study in the 2 years of the course lead on from sorts of topics that you will be looking at GCSE. They'll probably look quite familiar and Vandal, looking at the changing nature of the family, looking at the digital world, youth culture. The differences at A-level, we go into these topics in quite a bit more depth. So instead of just describing your family, you'll be describing the changing nature of the family, perhaps over the last 50 years, reflecting societal changes. So we'll look at things like a decreasing birth rate, the legislation of gay marriage. In the digital world, we'll look at perhaps the pros and cons of social media. We'll look at the rise in artificial intelligence. I can remember this year we looked at the use of robots in care homes in Germany as part of the digital world topic. And in fact, with all these topics, we always look at them in a German setting. So they're firmly based in the German-speaking world. The topics in year 2 become a little bit more sophisticated again, a little bit more political. We look at things like immigration, we look at Germany and the European Union, and we look at the aftermath of unification. Alongside these topics, there are cultural items. In the first year of the course, we study a film, and the film that we have chosen is Goodbye Lenin. Perhaps it's a title known to you. It's a well-known film, a poignant comedy set around the time of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And although the plot is a little bit far-fetched, it's quite a good film to learn more about unification and the effects of unification on everyday life in East Germany. Towards the end of the first year, we start our literary text, and we're reading a play, a modern literary classic, Dürrenmatt's Der Besuch der alten Dame. It's quite a strange play, content-wise. I think that's fair to say that students are quite perplexed at first, but they'll find out. Students find out in the end that it's actually very thought-provoking and just as relevant to our consumer culture today as it was when it was written in the 50s. Additionally, students choose their own topic and independent research project for the oral exam. This is quite a large component of the course. This is worth 17.5% in the end, and it is your own independent choice. Everybody chooses a different topic, and as long as it's something rooted in the German-speaking world, you can do pretty much anything you like. So perhaps you're interested in a political topic, such as the rise of the AfD in Germany, or Germany's decision to stop using nuclear power, or maybe a historical topic, such as looking at the Stasi in East Germany. We'll talk a little bit more about independent study skills in a moment. So what will the lessons look like? Well, we hope that they're varied and challenging. The nature of language learning tends to be short activities, so perhaps doing something on your own, then discussing it with a partner, and then perhaps working in a group on a related task, or maybe class discussions. The good thing is about a language at A level that if there's something going on in the world, if there's an important current event, or there's something important going on in college, we can discuss it as long as it's in German. Anything goes. So you have a reminder here that we attach great importance to your independent study skills, and we will help you to develop those to a very high standard. The highlight of the week for many of our students is the weekly conversation class. So this is a class in a group of 3 with a young German native speaker, usually a university student who comes over for a year and spends a year with us, and as I say, gives conversation classes in small groups. So I'm going to turn to Linnea and Michael now and ask them what they enjoy about the lessons. So we'll start with Linnea, please.
One of my favorite parts of the lesson is definitely the weekly conversation class, because we get to talk about a variety of topics such as architecture or like fashion trends, and it's a really cool way of learning about the German culture, because the assistant is from Germany, so they often know about a lot of things that might seem trivial to them. It's very interesting to us as Germans. I've also really enjoyed studying the movie and started studying the play, because it's really fun to always try and figure out what's happening, especially if you may not know all of the words, but to try and find out from context or how the characters are looking on the screen to figure out sort of the tone of what's happening. I've been enjoying.
That's great, thank you. And Michael?
Well, I really love the variety and how it's really different to my other lessons, because in a sense in German, the socializing and experiencing things and talking is the work, so it really feels almost more like leisure. And because you're constantly working in pairs and talking in the class and talking to the person next to you, it almost feels like it shouldn't be as fun as it is. And then on top of that, if you have the grammar and the vocab in lessons, which supports the conversation classes, you can really feel yourself getting better really quickly, and it's really satisfying to sort of see yourself grow hugely as a German speaker.
Oh, that's really nice to hear, thank you. So, as I say, we do set great store by your independent study skills, and we do encourage independent learning here at Hills Road. So for all your A-level students, you'll be expected to spend about 5 hours a week beyond the lesson time engaging in independent learning. And in German, that will be a mixture of directed homework tasks, reading, listening, writing tasks, but we also give you space really to develop your independent study skills. So an hour and a half is non-directed, and you can choose something to do in that time, something in German, something that will develop your language skills. So maybe you'll regularly watch the news, or you'll watch some German series, or maybe you're interested in reading some short stories, some poetry. The choice is yours. But some of the activities listed here on the next slide support your independent learning, support your learning around the classroom lessons. We're very well resourced, very lucky with our online resources. So there is a huge range for you to use. We run lunchtime support sessions, either individually or perhaps small groups, maybe for grammar support. As far as possible, we try and have regular lunchtime events, either organised by the German Society or by the teacher, so visiting speakers, film showings, etc. The German Society in the past has organised things like an Oktoberfest and a Christmas party, because obviously German Christmas traditions are definitely worth not just learning about in theory, but enjoying. Then in year 2, extension classes for students who wish to go a little bit beyond A-level and maybe study some extra literature, do some extra advanced learning of language, and that includes preparations for admission tests. Okay, so a little bit about Hamburg. We have a work experience exchange with Hamburg. And every year for the last 29 years, we've taken a group of students over on an exchange program to Hamburg, where the students spend 7 days in a work placement. So it's organised as a normal exchange. You are partnered up with a German student as far as possible with similar interests or perhaps similar school subjects to you. But instead of going with your exchange partner to school, you will do a work placement instead. So you can see from the pictures here, you can see Natalie, who worked as a classroom assistant in a primary school. And on the right, you can see Emil, who had the chance to work in a civil engineering company and was very lucky indeed, was able to accompany them on site visits. So it's fair to say that students are really immersed in a German-speaking environment, and most report that when they come back, they feel that their comprehension skills have improved massively. Obviously, the German students come back to us, and they will do a work placement in Cambridge. So we're looking into how we can make this work in a post-COVID world, and certainly when travel restrictions are lifted a little bit further, we can start planning how we can continue with this visit. So we also have some quotations here from previous students. So Michael left us the summer before last. He loved his languages when he started at Hills Road, and I'm pleased to say he still loved them at the end of his A-level courses. So he went on to study German and Spanish at Bristol, and you can read here what he has to say. And then Neve was also here. She also left last summer. She chose to do biology, chemistry and German. She was very keen to study medicine from the outset, but she was keen to keep a breadth of subjects in her A-level. And she did say that in her interviews for medicine, she was able to talk about German A-level and her experience in Hamburg. Jemima left just last summer, and she's just finished spending a gap year in Switzerland. She was motivated to spend time in a German-speaking country. She managed to find some casual work, and she is looking forward then to starting in the autumn with a course in languages and economics at Warwick. So I'm going to ask Linnea and Michael now what future plans they might have. Linnea, please.
Well, I'm not sure really what I want to study yet, but I've been planning recently to maybe take a gap year before going to university to stay and live in Germany for a year so that I can really further my German skills. After that, courses, I have been looking at some German courses as well. I really enjoy this subject.
That's great to hear. And Michael?
Well, at the moment, my main plan is to do geography at university, but I would absolutely love to maybe spend a year out in Germany or take a gap year or even live and work there in the future. And I know that 100% I'll keep up the language, even if it's just a hobby.
That's really good to hear. Thank you. So there's some frequently asked questions here. The difference between A-level and GCSE. I think it's fair to say the A-level builds on the GCSE, but clearly the topics are more sophisticated and there's far more scope for you to develop your own capacity for analysis or to apply language creatively. What subject should I combine German with? Absolutely anything you want. We have students doing a combination of courses that perhaps feels more traditional, like French, English, and German. We have students taking subjects like maths, computing, and German, and all sorts of things in between. Absolutely anything you want. A modern language does sit very nicely alongside any combination of subjects. And it's fair to say that a language skill, having a language at A-level, will set you in good stead in the future. So employers do value people with language skills. And what's nice as well, even if you don't particularly want to go on and study German formally, many universities, as Michael has said, many universities offer you the chance to spend a year in Germany. And a lot of our students, having spent 2 years, having gained hard-earned German skills, are quite keen to keep those skills going, even if they're perhaps studying a completely different subject. What career options are available to you? There's obviously jobs such as interpreter, translator, academic researcher, teacher, that directly follow on from a languages degree. But there's also jobs in the diplomatic service or journalism, or any job that requires graduate entry. Clearly, somebody with a languages degree is very attractive. If you think about it, many big graduate employers are multinational companies, and they're keen to recruit candidates who are obviously willing to work overseas, perhaps, or can liaise effectively with colleagues from different countries. So it is absolutely fair to say that employers value people with language skills very highly. So you can see here a slide showing our grades over the last few years. It's an average over the last 3 years. And I'm pleased to say that our students got the grades that they deserved, if to put it like that. There is a value added measure, which is a nationally recognised measure, whereby a student's A-level grade is predicted based on their GCSE profile. And I'm pleased to say that our students either got the grade that they were expected to based on this GCSE profile, or indeed performed slightly better. And then the final slide just reminds you of where our students go. So the vast majority go on to some sort of higher education course. Either they take a languages degree or a related subject or a joint honours degree, or maybe, as you've already heard, do a completely different subject. But many look for the chance to spend a year abroad within those other subjects. Perhaps it's useful to point out that last year there were only 3,000 students who took German A-level. 28 of them were actually here at Hills Road. And we have 32 students in our current lower six, but although we are a thriving department here in college, the national picture is not quite so rosy, and if you choose to do German A-level, it's fair to say you're in quite a small minority group. This, of course, makes you stand out from the crowd, and I would strongly encourage you to consider taking German A-level if you're already enjoying it at GCSE. Well, I hope this presentation has answered any questions you may have about German A-level. Please you're very welcome to contact us at college if you have any further questions. Danke für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit. Ich sage Tschüss und danke an Michael und Linnea, also Tschüss von uns allen.